This is the Business Storytelling Show, a top global marketing podcast listened to in more than 100 countries, live streamed on social media, and broadcast on DBTV. Christoph Trappe chats with industry leaders to help your company tell better business stories. Here's today's episode.
Today, I want to be talking with David Toushek. He is with everythingcommunications.com. You can see it at the bottom of the screen if you're watching on the video channels. Spotify, of course, has video as well. And we want to find out, how is communication evolving? How do we have to adjust? And how do we make it work in this era of no attention spans? David, welcome to the show.
Absolutely. Blow it up. How you doing?
Nice to see you. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for coming back. Really, really appreciate it. Now, talk to me about communications a little bit. And certainly they have evolved, right? I mean, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, we would not be sitting here like this, talking like this in a studio, live on the internet, producing podcasts like this. But what else? What is new in communications, and what do people need to think about?
Gosh, there's so much that's new. What is new? Things are changing fast. They're changing all the time. AI is big. It's you hear it all the time now. It's kind of getting hard to listen to because everybody's talking about AI, but it really is a game changer. AI is going to change potentially. It's going to change everything about how we engage with employees and how customers engage with brands. And so there's a tremendous opportunity for companies to figure out how to implement AI and how to leverage it in a way that really creates the best employee and customer experiences.
Yeah, what's interesting to me when it comes to AI, it's like you can use it for some things, but you shouldn't use it for other things, quite frankly, right? So like when I come to, I see all these content creators, and I actually see companies who are firing writers because AI is going to write all the content. And the way they do it is completely wrong, in my opinion. They just go out there and they say, hey, whoever, I'm not going to pick on any platform, write me an article on whatever. But where does the content come from? There's no personality. There's nothing. On this show, I use AI for all kinds of things, right? For like the video clips after the fact, they're AI generated. Then I edit them. Our transcript, AI generated. The start to an article, AI generated. The start to social post, AI generated. But the key here is the start, not the finish line.
Right.
So how do companies, how do they know how to use AI to make communication work for them and still, scale it up, I guess, but also to be to still be authentic, to have that personality?
Well, certainly authenticity is crucial in your writing, whether we're talking about social media posts, whether we're talking about emails to prospects or clients, whether we're talking about ads. Authenticity is critical. How does a company look at implementing? Where in the organization do they look at implementing? That is the big question that companies are dealing with right now. I was at a conference about a month and a half ago or so, and one of the big cautions was, if your organization does not currently have a strategy and a timeline for implementing AI, you're already a laggard, which is kind of crazy to think about. I mean, we just had generative AI come on the scene, a little bit over a year ago, and to be at the point now where it's like, if you're not already knowing how you're implementing and all the timelines, you're now a laggard. So things are changing fast, and there's so much opportunity. How do you do it? Honestly, one of the best ways is bring in external help. I mean, unless you have somebody with expertise in AI, expertise in creating great experiences, employee experiences, or customer experiences. If you happen to have such a unicorn, fantastic, then you're good to go. Most organizations aren't going to have that. And so that's where you can bring in some outside help, an external consultant. I saw something out of Boston Group. This is a huge portion of their current revenue stream, is helping companies to start to figure out how are they going to implement AI. If you have the kind of funds that you can hire Boston Consulting Group, then that's a fantastic opportunity. Another opportunity is to work with a consultant brokerage like mine. We can talk about that, but that's another way to go.
Yeah, so the other thing I was thinking about is, so when you were just talking about, you have to have a plan and whatever, but the other thing, yes, I'm always a big fan of a plan. But the other thing I was thinking about is, I think it was City Lamine on the Insightful Inspiration podcast, which, full disclosure, I do produce, but it was a good comment. And he made the comment on, if you use AI for market research, but you don't know what good market research looks like, how will you know that you got good market research. You
Mhm.
know, it's the same thing. If you don't know what good communications should look like, and now you got AI doing it for you, how do you know it's good? I know when I use AI for videos and some drafting and
Mhm.
ideas and outlines, I know what a good outline looks like.
Yep.
So I know how close it got me, or a headline. I think they're fantastic for headlines, except all the buzzwords: unlocked, transformed, unleashed. I was on the content chat and I joked and I said, unleashed. Are we all dogs now? I mean, seriously. So, so what's the right mix of bringing in technology experts
Mhm.
and communications experts and
Mhm.
maybe people who understand the industry, I guess?
That's the perfect question, and that's actually why I started this company. I'm doing something brand new, unique in the marketplace that just doesn't exist. So, communications and communications consultants aren't new. Technology brokerages aren't new. But having a company that is exclusively focused on helping organizations to maximize and optimize their communications holistically across the organization, that's a new thing. And there's nobody who's really specializing in that other than my organization. So I'm kind of trailblazing here, working to help companies to think holistically about how they communicate. Communications traditionally, it's it's a very narrow thing. So communications has meant a very specific thing, and what it doesn't mean is the very thing we need it to mean. So here's the thing: either communications is critical or not, right? We say it's critical. We say it's, oh yeah, it's crucial. You've got to learn to communicate well. We talk about communication throughout our organizations. We talk about communication, how we communicate with our customers. Here's a question: who in your organization is tasked with maximizing and optimizing that most critical, most crucial thing across your organization? There's nobody. There's like literally maybe one company that I've come across who may have that, despite they all have heads of communication. Now, the problem is that head of communication, it's not head of communication across the organization, from sales to marketing to operations to HR, all the most critical components of business. It's really just corporate comms, it's internal comms, it's media relations and analyst relations. And I don't mean to belittle that at all. That's all critical, important stuff, but it's not holistically thinking about how are we going to maximize and optimize in sales, in including what you're talking about, incorporating AI and making really great prospecting emails that cut through the noise and don't just create more spam, which is a huge problem. Salespeople are using automation technology to I call them spam cannons. They're using these spam cannons, and now they're going to be packing those spam cannons with these AI generated emails and just hitting send, and it's just more garbage, more noise, more spam. That is not great communication. Now, who in the organization is tasked with helping sales to maximize and optimize the way they communicate in their prospecting emails, in their existing client emails, or in their social media, in the way that they do their video calls? There's tons of opportunities and gaps and frictions across organizations. That's just sales. There's marketing, there's operations, contact centers is huge. There's gaps and frictions across the organization, and there's nobody tasked with looking for those gaps and identifying those frictions today. And so I built a company to tackle that.
And I think some of the problem is that sometimes the goal of the communication that the companies think about isn't the goal that the recipient actually would prefer, right? So I'll give you an example. Some of the corporate memos or updates or whatever you want
Yeah.
to call them,
Yep.
I mean, they're just full of garbage, right? It's like gobbledygook on top of gobbledygook, and people know it. And it's like buzzword after buzzword. And it's like, I mean, this is not a business communication, but I got a thing from the city, and I filed this complaint, and basically they went on and on and on explaining the definition of what lying is to me, which I don't need
Right.
them to explain that to me. I can look that up myself. But do you know what I'm saying? And I see that in corporate communications. I see it in like the lawyers approve it, right? Or
Yeah.
the goal isn't actually to get you to understand what I'm trying to say. The goal is to be able to say, we said something and,
Yeah.
for whatever
Yeah.
reason. So how do you make that switch? Am I wrong saying that? Tell me that.
No, I don't think so. I think you're bang on. I think that is actually the most important communication. So as critical as corporate communications is, and you had what was her name? Grace Williams was on your show. That's actually how I learned about you. Grace Williams was on your show. She's a senior VP of a senior VP over at Blast Media. And she was saying, in response to your question, what is communications? She said very rightly that it's, corporate comms, internal comms, PR, analyst relations, like it's a whole lot of stuff. And she's calling for, like some people are starting to call for, because it's so critical and so crucial, to pull it out from under marketing, who has a huge, set of tasks that they need to accomplish on, to pull it out from under that and give it its own direct connection to the CEO. So creating CCO is what she's calling for. Now, I wrote an article in the same vein called Where Are Your CCOs? And it's the same idea. If communications is so critical, if it's really the thing that creates all of our employee and customer experiences, then where are your CCOs, right? Like, finance is critical. And so we have CFOs who they have budget, mandate, and expertise to maximize and optimize finance across the organization, right? And if communications is critical, I think we should do the same thing. And I am answering your question because it's what it is taking communications, not only taking it out from under marketing and giving it more responsibility and direct line to the CEO, but it's much more than that. It's about giving it a real mandate, a strong mandate to maximize and optimize communications as most critical thing across the organization. Now, if you did that, then the communications that we think about is, what you're describing when you get the memo from the city, or when, here's a perfect example I love to give. When you've got an issue with, pick a company, Verizon, your bank, what have you, and, you call into their call center, and you're bounced around 5 different ways, and they don't know you, and you have to keep repeating the story, and you're just frustrated and annoyed. Do you really care whatever memo they sent out, or PR, or, a stance on DEI? You don't, right? So I'm not saying that their stance on DEI is not critical, it's not important, that they shouldn't really put thought into that messaging and how they send it out. But my point is that that is not the entirety of communications. It's not the messaging. What's much more crucial to your business is how happy your employees are and how happy your customers are. And your customers are happy not because of the statements that your company puts out, the messaging. They're happy based on the experiences they have in dealing with your company, right? Whether it's that prospecting email from a salesperson, whether it's a call into the call center, whether it's an interaction with the website, and whether you can have your question answered within 30 seconds by a really intelligent bot, or whether you have to go back and forth with a dumb bot or a live agent that just, it can be horrible experiences, or it can be incredible experiences, the best experiences. And what I'm saying is that's actually the communication that really matters, is the ones that create, happy employees and happy customers.
I actually don't think it's never the audience's fault. I mean, they shouldn't have to learn, but I do think sometimes like it is helpful to learn how to talk to bots, and figure out how to use the right language. It's kind of like the first few years when search engines came out, right? And of course they're way more advanced today. But back then, you kind of had to know what to do, right? Like how to get to the results you wanted. It's kind of the same thing. You learn how to talk to bots. I mean, when I text my internet provider, I know exactly what the bot's going to say, right? I got an Eero
Mm,
system, and I'm going to say, "Do you have any outages in the area?" And it's clearly their outage, and they
mm,
will write back, "We show that you have an Eero system. You need to look into the app." And I'm like, "There's nothing to do with the app. It's what you're bringing in." But I
right.
know that's what they're going to say, so I
Yeah.
don't even go down that route, and I just
Right.
go, "Operator, operator," like it never
Yeah.
works, right?
Ex-
So,
yeah.
but how do you train all these people, and especially, I think of it like this.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you had like, I don't know, 6 sportscasters on TV, right?
Mhm.
And today, not everybody and their brother, but way more brothers and way more everybody and their brothers, if that makes
Sure.
sense, can be a sportscaster, right? Because you got
Sure.
ESPN and you got like a
Mhm.
12,000 channels, right? Where people can watch sports. And It's kind of the same thing when it comes to all these different channels. Now you have people answering instant messages. You have people answering the phone. You have people answering texts. You have people answering whatever. How do you train everybody to be able to provide that great experience for the company?
How do you train consumers?
No, how do you train the employees
Hmm.
to provide? I know why. Yeah, I know I did say that a little bit wrong. How do you train employees to provide a good experience for the consumers on the company's behalf?
Well, I take it back to having somebody in charge in your organization, or certainly if you don't have one, and that's why I've set up my company as a fractional CCO service to provide this kind of leadership and strategy in your organization to first of all do an audit to say where are your gaps, where are your frictions, where are your challenges, and then when we identify them, we bring in technology and service providers who can help. Well, a lot of that free of charge, actually, crazy enough. But if you had, let's say, we'll pick on Verizon again. If Verizon had a chief communications officer who had a mandate to maximize and optimize communications across the organization, who had budget to maximize and optimize communications across the organization and expertise, then they would be able to bring in the best technologies, provide the best training to their employees on how to use these best technologies, and not just technologies, but how to craft a great email, how to utilize and respond to a customer on live chat. One of the things, talking about live chat can be fantastic, it can be amazing, it can be so much better than having to call in. But you know how live chat sucks is when that agent is also handling, 50 other clients, and you're just waiting there. You see the dot 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 and you're just waiting there for dot dot dot, and then like literally I had a 45-minute communication that spanned 45 minutes with an agent because they're handling 50 different customers, and it's just dot dot dot, send a response, dot dot dot, and the quality of the questions that they were asking just weren't good enough, right? If you're going to have that much lag in between a correspondence, like your questions have to be smart, they have to be sharp, right? And so it's training, it's technology, it's process, it's having access to the best information. That's why there's these technologies that can assist humans. So it doesn't need to be strictly an AI bot, which, there's traditional bots that, back to your point about dealing with some of these bots. Yeah, traditional bots they haven't been a great experience. You just want to try to get around them as quickly as you can to a live agent. But that's not as good as they come, right? There are some AI powered bots that are actually very intelligent, and you can actually get a real answer from them, a quality answer, in much less time than dealing with a human. That doesn't necessarily mean that we don't need humans, but how do you incorporate the best of AI with the best of humanity and humans and your human talent to provide the best customer experiences and the best employee experiences so that your employees aren't being inundated and having to do kind of low grade correspondence back and forth with a human when you can have an AI powered bot doing that low grade kind of communications and then elevating the intelligence stuff to the human. There's lots of ways to do it, but I think to me, where it starts is, first of all, acknowledging or even just asking the question, is communications really critical? Is it really the thing that creates all of our employee and customer experiences? If so, then you must have somebody who works to identify, your gaps, frictions, and challenges in the organization. If that's what you want to do, if you want to maximize and optimize it. And then you have to have somebody who's going to go out there and know the industry, go to the trade shows, read the emails from all the salespeople who are sending in their spam through their spam cannons, understand what's new in the industry, and bring that to the clients. That's what's required, and it's changing all the time. Like there is so much new technology coming on board, week by week and day by day, that without somebody who's dedicated to that task, it's just I don't know of any other way to do it.
Yeah, it's interesting too when you have all these agents talking to multiple people. Their goal isn't to finish the conversation. The goal is to not make people wait. So you can say, "Oh, people only wait for 20 seconds." Well, maybe they only wait for 20 seconds, but then they wait in between answers forever and ever and ever. Now, great discussion, David. Really appreciate you coming on the show. As always, time flies when you have fun. So really appreciate you coming on. 30 seconds here. Tell us who should reach out to you, who should connect with you. Perfect client scenario, so to speak. Nice to
Yeah,
see you.
perfect clients. I try to deal with clients above 250 employees. If you have a contact center, especially, if you're looking to increase your employee satisfaction, to have people feel more connected and engaged while they're working dispersed, or if you really want to up your customer satisfaction, have happier employees, more connected customers, increase your sales, increase your engagement. If that's what you're looking to do, I guarantee you the answer is going to be found within communication. So contact me, everythingcommunications.com, or find me on LinkedIn.
Thanks for tuning in. Please rate and review the Business Storytelling Show on your favorite podcast platform and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.